All right. Well, last 2 weeks have been disappointing, and we haven't coached well enough to win. We haven't played well enough to win, and that's shown. And that's difficult. It's difficult on our coaches. It's difficult on our players. I know it's difficult on Bronco Nation, and trust me, I feel the pain. And we have to go back to work. We have another game and a big one this week against a very good team. I think the difference, between being 7-4 and potentially 10-1, it's little things. It's details, and it's the smallest of margins that separate those wins and losses. It's accountability with everybody. It's not being satisfied with any type of success, and that goes for the entire program from top to bottom. And so we got to overcome, we have some adversity right now, we got to overcome it. And that's one of the things. When you win, you still face a lot of these challenges, and it's easier when you're winning to talk about these things as well. When you have a loss and people are hurting, you still have to talk about it, and there's still a bunch of teachable moments for all of us in this program because we're facing some adversity. How do we handle it? We face it in the games, we face it off the field, we face it in this building, and really the goal is, what do we learn from that and how do we overcome it? Because that's the key ingredient when it comes to sports. You're going to face it because not everything goes your way. And these last 2 games, it hasn't gone our way. Hats off to Air Force. They played extremely well. They were physical. They're well coached. They did a nice job of creating matchups and opportunities for them. And so nothing to take away from their performance and what they've done. They've been a very good team. They've shown that the last 2 years. And, that's Coach Calhoun's done a great job there. But for us, we've got to be able to get back to work and be focused on doing our jobs and doing it to the best of our abilities and really doing it for each other and being able to finish it the right way. And that's no different than if we were winning, it'd be the same message each week, and it has been. But we've got to do it more consistently, play in and play out. As far as San Jose State, very good team. They're 4-3 in the Mountain West Conference. Their offensive coordinator is Al Borges. I don't know if you guys, Al Borges was the offensive coordinator here when I was being recruited, and he was the first position meeting I ever had in a recruiting meeting. The first question he asked me if I was a yuppie, I had no idea what that meant. I still don't. And when I see him and we go play, I want to ask him exactly what he meant by that. I did ask him. He said, "Well, do you eat sushi?" And I'm like, "No," at that time. And I didn't know what he meant. But he's a very charismatic guy. And during that time watching Boise State, they did some really good things on offense and were very creative. He went on, I believe he went to Oregon and then UCLA from there, and has been several different places. But you watch them now, they still have that creativity, they still game plan, they still do a great job from that standpoint. And always had a lot of respect for him. Remember when he climbed up on the goalpost when he was here, I believe after the Idaho game when we won it. So kind of a pro-style run-pass option, a lot like everybody's doing. One thing, the first half, they've outscored their opponents throughout the year. They're 49% on third downs, almost 50% on third downs. That's an impressive stat. So they've really done a nice job there. And at home, this is an interesting fact here, at home they average about 430 yards a game at home. So they're obviously moving the ball and doing some very good things there. On defense, the one thing that really stands out to me, they're number 1 in the country in pass defense. And both their corners, I think, are all caliber, all Mountain West type players. And they've obviously done a very good job there. They're a 4-3 scheme. They'll bring some pressure. They're probably going to bring pressure against us. And they've shown that, but would anticipate those things. But have done a very nice job there, too, just being multiple. Special teams, their punter, I can't say his last name. First name is Michael, but he is number 1 in the NCAA in punting. He's got a 47.9 average. The kickoff returner, there's only been 4 punt returns this year, so that's a little bit unusual stat-wise, and I haven't been able to dive into the special teams completely yet. I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit on the offense and defensive side, but this is a very good team, and obviously there's another connection there, Gene Blameyer, the athletic director, who is there as well, so you understand, some of the nature of this football team, but it comes back to us and having a great week of practice. These guys have time off this week when it comes to school, so they have a lot of opportunities to get in here and continue to study more on the film, get themselves prepared. And we do have Thanksgiving coming up, so we'll have that along with a practice on Thanksgiving. Then we go travel and go play an early game like we did against UNLV. But the goal this week is for us to get out there and prepare better than we prepared all year long, for guys and coaches to do their jobs and to get back out there and play with a passion, doing our assignments, enjoying it, and finding a way to get another win. And that's the ultimate goal. So with that, open up for questions.
You mentioned the coaching side, trying to do better there as well. And I know last year after Air Force, you put the emphasis on kind of having fun, doing that kind of stuff. Is there anything you look at that you need to maybe do different or improve to try to get this thing on track a little bit?
Well, definitely different. We've got to do a better job as coaches. I've got to do a better job of making sure, that our guys are in the positions to be successful. And then when they are, we have to be accountable to make those plays. And again, if we are and the plays are competitive and people make them, that's what you want. All right, you want to make those plays, but you want them to be competitive plays. But it all starts with our preparation. That starts with me, starts with our coaches, that we have a great game plan for our players and that we're able to go out there and execute it. Having fun really comes with all that. And we've talked about it. Fun is not, ha-ha fun and all that and running around and just smiling. Fun is being absolutely dialed in for that game and prepared and confident to go out there and play. And when you make those plays, that's fun. That shows all that hard work you put in is paying off. And it's also, you have enough confidence that if it doesn't go your way, regroup. It's one play at a time, and that's where the adversity comes into play. And that's where we have to do a better job of handling that and overcoming it. If it's a turnover, defense, get out there, watch me now. Let's try to get the ball back or a 3 and out. If we get a turnover, let's go put points on the board. I think we put 17 points on the board from turnovers, but one was a punt that we missed and getting points, and one was a field goal that we had really great field position. That's where you've got to go out there, and we've got to have great play calls. We've got to have great execution, and, those didn't happen all the time. And that's on everybody, and ultimately that's on me to make sure that we have ourselves in the right positions to go out there and execute and make those plays. We certainly can, and we haven't done it. That's where it's fun, when that comes together and that plan comes together. And really that was the same thinking going into Nevada. And it did come together, and we were able to win that game. And that's where, when you get that win again, you put that time in, you realize what you have to continue to focus on, because a loss makes everything a lot more apparent. That's when the fun happens.
Marcel was saying that he felt pretty good at the bye week and going into the last 2 weeks game plan wise against the option, and then it obviously didn't work, and he said he's going to kind of have to in the offseason go back to the drawing board, stopping the option, that kind of thing. I know you're more involved in offense, but defensively the last 2 weeks, did you feel like the game plan was there to be able to stop the option?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I obviously watch the defense and pay attention to what those teams offensively are doing, and I think so. Here's the thing. You know they're going to run the ball and make some yards, and that's obviously what they do. Some of the pass plays, where we got hit and some of the explosives, that's what needs to be eliminated. And that's a combination of things, is what it is. But ultimately, that's where you've got to find ways to eliminate the explosive plays. We're always trying to create explosive plays on the offensive side. We're trying to eliminate them on the defensive side and battle it out one play at a time. And if there's a drive that's put together, if it was 18-play drive and the fullback carries it or whatever, then that's part of the deal. You got to be able to stop that. But, they got us on the perimeter. Now, a credit, you go back to Air Force. They did a nice job. They showed a few things in there that they hadn't shown. They got on the perimeter. Coaches made really good adjustments in the second half to stop some of that. But ultimately, big plays is what we have to eliminate. And I felt like going into the bye week in our prep, I didn't think that we were surprised by that. We didn't think those were opportunities they could get. We also knew where we were vulnerable if they were to do something, because we're trying to commit one more guy to the run in certain situations. And, back to the drawing board, I know guys feel that way. I think they had a plan. We've got to execute it. We've also got to put our guys in better positions too. But yes, when you lose, anytime you lose or don't perform the way you want to, that's the mentality around here. Let's go back to the drawing board. We're trying to be not perfect. And I know guys are talking about unacceptable. No, we're trying to go out there and make progress. That's what we're trying to make. And that's really the key, that we've got to do a better job when we play and face that moving forward than we have the last couple times.
You brought up, it seems pretty important for the players to have fun, to be out and prepared. Have there been wins this season where you feel like they weren't having fun?
Wins?
Yeah, when you bring this
Well,
up,
yeah, I think, again, we're kind of getting out of this whole, we had this conversation the other day about fun and defining that. It's enjoying the work you put in and showing up when you play. That's what fun is. And yeah, wins, hey, it's sometimes when it's all said and done, you go back, you study the film. I wouldn't say fun is really the word. Enjoyment, competitive, and going out there and trying to make sure that you're doing your job for the guys around you. That's really what it comes down to. So I think guys have enjoyed themselves. I think in our losses, guys enjoy the opportunity to play. That's what it is. Do we win? No. Is that disappointing? Absolutely. But when you put the work in, hey, sometimes it doesn't always go your way, and you've got to come back from that. But I'm not sure the definition what everybody's looking for, fun. Fun is making sure, I wouldn't say fun, enjoyment is doing your job and making sure that you're helping your team do their job and being a part of that.
When things kind of turn like this and a couple losses like this, people start wondering about chemistry, culture, that kind of stuff. I know after the game today, you didn't feel like you had issues there, but do you worry about that at all? Do you feel like the team is where it needs to be in that area? I don't think that's something that I've been here a long time, and we haven't had the back-to-back losses, and I think everybody wants to jump to conclusions rather than pointing to the facts of scheme, execution, whatever it is. We get to watch the tape every single day, and I think the natural assumption for everybody is everything is, the sky is falling, everybody's jumping off ship, no one likes it anymore, and that's not true, all right? People are disappointed. Nobody's more disappointed than me, and if anybody's upset or mad at me or anybody like that, it's just myself, all right, and my 9-year-old son Davis, because he hates losing more than I do. So, and that's the reality. But yeah, disappointment, you know what? Hey, when you don't have success, I think the natural thing to do is question. But really the reality of it is pop the tape on or go look at what we're doing. That's matter of fact. And that's really what you have to focus on. We certainly can't control every emotion, and I know that I'm sure, with social media and things like that, these guys pay attention to it. Matter of fact, we got a guy that's struggling in a class. Well, he's studying for that class the other day. He puts his phone away because he knows he needs to get away from it a little bit. During that 2-hour study session, he's got 188 text messages. And I'm sitting there and it popped in my head. I'm going, how do you concentrate on your development and what you're doing if you're trying to worry about Snapchat, text messages, Instagram, and all of that, and pay attention? That has nothing to do with anything, because who knows where those voices are coming from and those distractions. And that
is where we have to avoid the noise, because what's said in here and what's seen on that tape is reality. That's all that matters. And when it comes down to it, that's what we talk about in here. You know, let's get to the facts. Hey, this is what it is. This is why it happened. It's my fault, or we didn't do this. Either way, we take accountability for what happens. And when you're not winning, the one thing you want to do is try to find a way to win. And even in winning, there's still accountability issues that go on as well, or guys aren't happy, or they don't like the role. That's competition, and that's sports in general. So, no, I don't feel that way. I feel like, you know, we got to go out there and play more hungry than we do. We got to go out there and we've got to compete. We've got to go out there and we've got to prepare and execute better to win. And, you know, that's the key ingredient to me. And so, you know, I think that's never been a question. I've been here a long time, and I know the reality is of 2 losses at home. I know how disappointing that is. Trust me, I've seen it. Or I've been a part of this program a long time to know exactly how everybody feels, and nobody feels more worse about that than I do. But the one thing that I like is I got an opportunity to have a part in it, to change it. And you know what, this week, hopefully that happens. And the guys that sit in this room, hopefully that happens, and that's our mission.
Looking at San Jose State for this week, to my knowledge, they don't do a whole lot of option, but they do have a really good running back. What do you see in him? What do you see in their sort of basic strategies and what they're going to try to do now on the defensive side of the ball? You mentioned they're really good against the pass.
Yeah.
Why are they good against the pass? Because the numbers are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I think they do what they do in the pass in their pass defense. They're sound. I think their players compete. They got 2 really good corners, and they're in position to make plays. You know, it's really as simple as that. I think they do their job really well, and they've done that. I think that they've gotten some pressure on the quarterbacks at times too to create some turnovers. Watching a couple of the games, that's what I've seen. I haven't seen every game, so I don't know the exact answer to that question of, you know, why overall, but they do play hard offensively. Yeah, they don't run option. They probably will try some this week. All right, they'll probably have a package in there. You know, I mean, that's game planning. And like I said, you know, Al Borges has been a creative guy, has done a nice job, and they'll game plan some things in there. We got to be prepared, you know, for some different things. But yeah, the running back and the quarterback, you know, there are opportunities for those guys to make plays carrying the football. And so, you know, we've got to be able to account for both of them. We've got to make plays when they do. We've got to find ways to tackle. And, you know, it comes down to that.
Didn't get a chance after the game to ask you, but just wondering if you can get your reaction on the situation involving David Cicero.
Yeah. Well, we all know that David's been suspended indefinitely, and I'm not going to say much more about it than that, other than, you know, guys on this football team, you know, we take the football out of it. You know, we talk so much about life and real life situations, and have people come in here and talk to our guys about them too. And you know, it's hard on our football team, you know, when something like that happens and you got a guy that's no longer part of your team in whatever capacity. So that's it on that.
Does he, just follow up real quick, does he stay on the roster on scholarship till that's done, or what do you do there? And then do you do anything specifically aimed at domestic violence in terms of, you know, training and that kind of stuff? Or what do you do there?
Yeah. Yeah, he does, you know, and obviously this is out of our hands. Now, as far as, you know, his situation, school, and taking care of that, that continues. Team activities, it does not. During the bye week, we had a couple people come in here and talk to our team specifically on that for an hour and a half on all those scenarios, and they did a great job. And the folks that were in here speaking to our guys, they did a great job. I really felt like getting their point across. I felt like with the activities they did, that was interactive with our players, it was maybe one of the better learning environments when it came to interaction. with young people and talking about real world issues. So, yeah, we do. And it's part of our Bronco family code. There's a lot of things because we obviously feel very strongly about that in this program. We unfortunately read about other issues that happen in other sports, and those become topics of conversation. This is a constant learning. It's being the best in football and it's being the best in life. And those are the two things that our whole program is based on. That's the mission. And whatever department or whoever comes in contact with our players is how are we